In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on November 24, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Iowa versus Nebraska. In a highly anticipated matchup, the Iowa Hawkeyes, who have secured their spot in the Big Ten championship game, are set to face the Nebraska Cornhuskers on Friday afternoon. Iowa's journey to the championship was marked by their triumph in the Big Ten West Division, and their upcoming clash with Nebraska serves as a crucial prelude to the championship game slated for December 2nd against the victor of the Ohio State-Michigan showdown. Despite their formidable defensive performance, with an average of 19 points per game, the Hawkeyes navigated the season successfully, winning 8 of their first 10 games. Their offensive strategy involved a balanced approach, with 122 passing yards per game, complemented by a ground game that averaged 3.5 yards per play and 121 yards per game. The recent 15-13 victory against Illinois showcased the Hawkeyes' defensive prowess, and quarterback Deacon Hill, along with running back LeShaun Williams, played pivotal roles in securing the win. On the Cornhuskers side, they commenced the season with a 5-6 record, teetering on the edge of bowl eligibility. Nebraska's offense faced challenges, averaging 18 points per game, with struggles in the passing game evident through 127.3 yards per game, 8 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. Despite a promising start against Wisconsin, where they led 14-0 after the first quarter, the Cornhuskers fell short, managing only a field goal for the rest of the game in a 24-17 loss. As the Hawkeyes gear up to face Nebraska, it appears to be a peculiar matchup. Iowa encountered difficulties against Illinois, securing a win with just 281 yards of offense and 18 first downs. Meanwhile, Nebraska's offense sputtered after the first quarter in their recent loss to Wisconsin, finishing with 364 yards, 19 first downs, and a 5 of 1-2 conversion rate on third down attempts. The challenge for Nebraska to crack Iowa's defense is evident, so the Iowa Hawkeyes to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Odds makers have set an intriguingly low mark, mirroring the trend in Iowa football games. The matchup between these two teams, with offenses struggling and turnovers prevalent, suggests a total of less than 4 touchdowns. Despite the offensive struggles, both teams' penchant for turnovers could result in short fields, potentially pushing the game beyond the seemingly low total. Last week, Nebraska managed 17 points and Iowa scored 15, indicating a potential for more points than expected. Considering Nebraska as Iowa light due to similar team compositions, it wouldn't be surprising to witness another Iowa total in the 20s. However, deviating from the sub-30 total trend, this game might see more offensive action. Iowa, aware of the impending challenge against either Ohio State or Michigan in the championship game, may opt for a more aggressive offensive approach against Nebraska's defense. This strategic move aims to test and showcase different facets of their offense, potentially catching their championship-bound opponents off guard. While the season-long defensive numbers may suggest a low-scoring affair, this game's dynamics could defy expectations. The possibility of defensive scores and the strategic offensive experimentation by Iowa make it plausible for the game to surpass the projected total, anticipating a more dynamic and unpredictable matchup than indicated by the season-long defensive statistics. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. TCU versus Oklahoma. In the upcoming matchup between TCU and Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Sooners find themselves in a precarious position with their fate for the Big 12 title game hanging in the balance. Despite a 9-2 record, the Sooners are aware that the outcome is not entirely within their control, relying on favorable results from other games. The importance of taking care of business at home against the TCU Horned Frogs cannot be overstated, serving as the initial step in their quest for postseason contention. However, even with the looming uncertainty, the Sooners remain a double-digit home favorite. The early betting trends suggest a shift against Oklahoma, and the rationale behind it is evident. Maintaining a consistent margin of victory becomes challenging when navigating the unpredictable terrain of standings towards the end of the season. The previous week's narrow 7-point win over Brigham Young University, despite being favored by minus 24.5 at close, adds weight to the argument against the Sooners covering the spread. Looking ahead, Oklahoma faces the daunting task of relying on other teams to secure their shot at the Big 12 title game, with both Texas and Oklahoma State needing to lose. The psychological challenge for the Sooners players to believe in receiving the necessary assistance adds an extra layer of complexity. Nevertheless, the immediate focus is on winning the upcoming game against TCU convincingly. The absence of scoreboard watching distractions could potentially work in favor of an Oklahoma team poised for a dominant performance. On the other side of the matchup, the TCU Horned Frogs enter the game following a convincing 42-17 victory over Baylor, improving their record to 5-6 for the season. Quarterback Josh Hoover, running back Imani Bailey, and a robust receiving core, led by Savion Williams and J.P. Richardson, form the core of TCU's offensive arsenal. Defensively, Nnamdi Obiazer stands out with a team-high 79 total tackles and 4 sacks. In contrast, the Oklahoma Sooners, with back-to-back wins, aim to build on their recent successes. Quarterback Dylan Gabriel, with 3,260 passing yards and 27 touchdowns, spearheads a potent offensive unit. The receiving duo of Drake Stoops and Jalil Farouk, along with running backs Gavin Sawchuk and Tawi Walker, contribute to the team's scoring prowess. Defensively, players like Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman Jr. have been instrumental in securing turnovers. Coach Brent Venable's announcement that Gabriel is expected to play further strengthens Oklahoma's position, instilling confidence in covering the spread. TCU's offensive explosion in the previous week may face a formidable challenge against an Oklahoma defense that showcased resilience by forcing 3 turnovers in the last game. The strategic analysis points to TCU struggling on third downs against Oklahoma's stout defense, potentially hindering their momentum. Additionally, TCU's red zone scoring inefficiency contrasts with Oklahoma's red zone defense strength, suggesting missed scoring opportunities for the Horned Frogs. Anticipate a robust offensive display from Oklahoma. TCU's defensive struggles on the road further support this prognosis. Despite potential defensive challenges for Oklahoma, the expectation is for them to maintain offensive consistency. The Oklahoma Sooners to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Considering the offensive track record of both teams, the likelihood of a shootout emerges as a prominent theme. While TCU's offensive struggles throughout the season may have discouraged over bettors, the scenario could change in this matchup, with TCU adopting an aggressive approach. The potential outcome of a high-scoring game, such as 38-35, 38-31, or 41-30, aligns with the points per game statistics of both teams. Examining TCU's misleading over-under record, there's an argument for purchasing overs in Horned Frog games at a perceived low point. Highlighting instances where TCU faced high-scoring opponents, the closing numbers average out to around 65, suggesting that the projected total for this game might be conservative. Expect a game with significant offensive output. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Miami, Florida versus Boston College. 2 evenly matched Atlantic Coast Conference teams, both standing at 6 wins, are set to conclude their regular season in a clash between the Miami Hurricanes and the Boston College Eagles this Friday. Although both teams have secured their spot in bowl games, they find themselves situated in the lower echelons of the Atlantic Coast Conference standings, with Boston College holding the 8th position and Miami trailing at 10th. Miami's recent defeat at the hands of Louisville, where they succumbed 38-31 despite being 1.5-point home favorites, contrasts with Boston College's 24-16 loss to Pittsburgh as 2.5-point underdogs on the road. Miami, standing at 6-5 for the season, faced a heartbreaking loss against Louisville, squandering leads of 21-20 at halftime and 28-23 in the fourth quarter. Despite outgaining Louisville by a total of 486-470 and forcing a turnover, Miami fell victim to 2 late quarter scores by the opposition. Their offensive prowess has seen them average 31 points per game, with quarterback Tyler Van Dyke amassing 2,413 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Henry Parrish Jr. has been a force on the ground, rushing for 468 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Xavier Restrepo boasts 68 receptions for 876 yards and 5 scores. Defensively, Miami is conceding an average of 22 points per game. Boston College, also standing at 6-5, suffered a 24-16 defeat at the hands of Pittsburgh in their last outing, relinquishing a 13-10 lead in the third quarter. Quarterback Thomas Castellanos, with 1,000 1,995 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, has also been a rushing threat, accumulating 827 yards and 10 touchdowns. Ty Robichaux has contributed 683 rushing yards and 6 scores, while Lewis Bond has caught 42 passes for 565 yards and 6 touchdowns. Boston College's defense, allowing 28.1 points per game, faces the challenge of a Miami offense that has shown potency despite recent setbacks. Considering the potential lack of motivation for Miami, as indicated by a disinterested performance and the inconsistent form of Van Dyke, the game appears poised for a competitive showdown. Boston College, with their preference for a strong rushing game and a defense adept at pass coverage, presents a viable challenge. Despite the risks associated with Castellanos' performance, their commitment to the running game aligns with the weakness in Miami's rush defense. Moreover, Boston College's recent ability to score at least 22 points in games where they were underdogs, coupled with the cold weather factor, adds an intriguing dimension to the matchup. In analyzing recent performances, both teams have struggled, setting the stage for a closely contested bout where a victory would provide a positive conclusion to the regular season. Miami, despite their 3-game losing streak, has been within striking distance in recent matchups against formidable opponents. However, their inability to secure a convincing win raises questions about their capability to cover a significant spread. The Boston College Eagles, with senior night adding emotional motivation, a formidable rushing attack, and a defense proficient in pass defense, emerge as a compelling underdog. So the Boston College Eagles to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. I hold a positive outlook on Boston College's prospects for achieving a score in the mid-20s or higher, irrespective of whether they benefit from turnovers by Van Dyke. Even if Miami manages to reach the 30s to cover the side, it would likely propel the total well beyond its current mark. If the prevailing market sentiment leans towards Miami winning comfortably with the given point spread, I find it necessary to acknowledge that belief and, consequently, expect the Hurricanes' offense to perform at or near its peak, making scoring appear relatively effortless. This inclination towards an efficient offense only strengthens the case for a high-scoring affair. Granted, Miami's defense is set to face a significant challenge against Boston College's rushing game. However, in the event of a lackadaisical approach by the Hurricanes in this matchup, I question whether their defense will exhibit an unwavering commitment on every play to thwart the opposing run. Consequently, the on-paper advantage that Miami holds in stopping the run may not translate to the same extent on the field, potentially leaving room for sizable running lanes. The key to Boston College's contribution to reaching the total lies in Castellanos seizing scoring opportunities while safeguarding the football. The team has demonstrated a commendable 3-1 over-under record when coming off a loss this year, with the lone under occurring last week in Pittsburgh. Given the current scenario, it appears unlikely for a similar outcome to unfold again, and I'm inclined to believe it won't. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.